Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We're planning to have more folks join us, but they might just filter in a little bit later. As you can see, this is the introduction workshop for the Kīpuka Innovation Competition. You may have joined us on last Friday for the kickoff, and so thanks for coming back. Today is going to be a little bit more in depth, and we're going to go over more of the application process and some of the different ways that you can approach the video and budget. So to begin, I'll go ahead and introduce myself along with Katie, and then while we're doing that, in the chat, you could put your name, where you're from, and then today we're going to ask you who your favorite superhero or supervillain might be. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. My name is Jack Solomon. I'm on the Purple Maya team, and I'm co-running this Kīpuka competition along with Katie from STEMworks. I'm initially from Kona on Hawaii Island, but currently zooming in from Mo'iliili on Oahu. And my favorite superhero is probably Iron Man. That's always at least been my favorite Marvel movie, so we'll go with that.
Thanks, Jack. I'll go ahead and introduce myself as well. So I'm the program manager at STEMworks. My name is Katie Talladay. I'm originally from a small town in Pennsylvania, but I live in Hawaii Kai on Oahu. And I don't know if this counts as a superhero, but I love Storm. So maybe Storm can count there.
Right on. Thanks, Katie. So for those of you who weren't with us last time, this is a program or a competition that is co-run by Purple Maya and STEMworks. A little bit about Purple Maya. We are on a mission to inspire and educate the next generation of culturally grounded, community-serving technology makers. And so this competition fits right within our mission. And we do serve kind of a few different groups. We serve OPO, like yourselves. We serve community members who want to learn about entrepreneurship and design. And then we also help startups and different local companies grow and expand their impact. I'll hand it over to Katie to talk about STEMworks real briefly.
Thanks, Jack. So at STEMworks, we provide STEM education to students, but also to teachers. So we provide professional development to our teachers across the state. We do a lot of stuff at STEMworks, so I would encourage you to check out our website, www.stemworkshawaii.org. And some of the things that we do for students are career readiness, skills building. So right now we're in the heart of our summer internship program. So with the summer internship program, students across the state are working with companies on STEM-based projects. So they have a chance to, like we like to say, download knowledge and upload their service to help these companies. We also have innovation challenges every other month through our STEMworks Solution Challenges. But in this summer, we love that we are partnered with Purple Maya on the Kīpuka Youth Innovation Challenge. One of the things we love about this one is that it is totally open-ended. It is up to you, your ideas, how you want to serve your community. So it is not company-driven. It is you-driven and your imagination-driven. So thank you for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Thanks for sharing, Katie. Yeah, so what we're here for, the Kīpuka Innovation Competition. In case you weren't here last time, just to briefly go over what it is all about, it is a competitive innovation grant program for Hawaii students with ideas for place-based solutions to local challenges. So in a nutshell, we really just want to see your vision for uplifting a community that you feel a part of through some sort of innovative project or initiative. As for the program overview, applications are due July 30th. You'll submit a video and a budget along with your written application. The winners will be granted up to $2,000 based on how much they requested for their projects. And then the implementation period will be between August 10th and December 1st. And so that's the time you'll actually work on your project make progress, report on milestones. And then at the end, we'll have a final reflection and showcase to report on some of the final outcomes and learnings and progress that you were able to make over that period of time. Before I move on, does anyone have any questions? I'll keep an eye on the chat. I know you are unable to speak, Elijah. Okay, well, if at any time there are any questions, please feel free to put them in chat, or you can even unmute and interrupt me. So again, what will be submitted is a budget along with your video, and that will all go into your application, which is due July 30th. If you do want to apply, you can visit the Kīpuka website, and you can go directly to the application at that URL below, kīpuka.purplemaya.org/apply. So today we're going to go into a little more detail about that budget and the video requirement and some different tips and guidelines while you're working on that. So I will go ahead and hand it over to Katie to talk about your budget and some of those requirements and tips. Let me know when you want to share, Katie.
Thanks, Jack. So first, I'm going to go ahead and put where we can find the budget template into the chat. So it's at kīpuka.purplemaya.org/apply. So that is in the chat. So what we're going to do now is, this is designed to be like a workshop. So I really want to work through this budget with you. So if you have an idea for your project, let's just start brainstorming what are some of the costs and get you started on working through this budget. And if you're watching the recording, I'll pause at different areas for you to actually take a moment, fill in your own ideas, fill in your own costs, and you can always come back and continue to work on your budget up until the due date of the application. So Jack, I'll go ahead and take over the screen. All right, so just to reiterate, you can find us at kīpuka.purplemaya.org/apply. And we have two places you can get it, either here at the budget template or download the budget template. When you click on this, it's going to ask you to make a copy. So you'll sign into your Google account. You're going to make a copy. And then you're going to have a copy now of the Kīpuka budget template. So I want to make sure for anyone here that is working on a budget with me, I want to make sure that you're at this spot. So let me know when you are ready to go.
Also, I do want to say if any of you have any trouble accessing this, if perhaps you don't have a Google account, please let us know. You can reach out and email me, jack@purplemaya.org, or you can contact us on the website, and I'll go ahead and send you a different format or work with you to be able to access this.
Thanks, Jack. So the first thing we're going to want to do is probably change the name and name this for our own team name. So I'm going to give you an example idea. This is something fun that I pitched this week for real. So I'm going to give you an example of a project that's called See the Sea. So we're going to change this to See the Sea. And that is my team name. Now, if you're an individual, you can just put your individual project name, you can put your team name, and we're going to put that at the top here of the budget as well. And that's to make sure that when we're reviewing your application, we know, just in case who this budget belongs to, which team that it is. Okay, so through the instructions, it says, please insert your team name above. So that's what we did up here. And we're going to use the budget categories below to organize our expenses. Now, this type of budget is something that we call an itemized budget. We have lots of different items that we're going to put in our budget based on different categories. So the major categories that we have here for your project, and we expect that you will have these types of expenses for your project, are equipment. You may have expenses related to transportation and travel. You might need supplies or software. Now, personnel, we put this in here just to be aware that anytime you do a business, an operation, a company, a nonprofit, you're often going to have to pay people to be there. So typically you'll have like a founder and CEO, you might have a program manager who oversees the whole program, project managers who oversee different projects, sales and marketing people to help get your word out, and assistant. So we would love, if you think in the future you're going to have these expenses, to put them here. But note that this is a non-allowable expense for your budget in this competition. That means it's not going to be added to your total. So for this innovation competition, we expect that you're here out of passion. You're really passionate about your project, so you're dedicating your time. The fifth category is sales and marketing. And then the sixth category is just all those other things that maybe didn't quite fit into one of these specific categories, and we'll go through that. Okay, so let's go and just do an example of what this would look like for my project. So CC is a virtual reality app to help teach people about sea level rise in Hawaii. So I'm going to need some equipment for my virtual reality app. So the first thing I'm going to need is the actual virtual reality headset. Okay, so that's going to be a hardware equipment. Okay, so I'm going to put in here an Oculus Quest. Okay, so I know that I want my VR to be on an Oculus Quest, and I know I'm probably going to want 2 of them so that I have one for myself to test and one for a friend to test. Or for outreach events, I may have one for one person to look at and for another. So we're going to say times 2. All right, now I need to know how much that Oculus Quest is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're probably going to just buy this from a retailer. All right, I want it to be new, make sure that it's reliable. Sometimes it's okay to buy things used for technologies. I think I want this to be used. So we can go to shopping in Google, and we can kind of scan and see, all right, who right now has the best price on an Oculus Quest? All right, so I see it is $299 at Target. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this price and I'm going to grab the link. So we're going to copy this, we're going to grab the link, and we're going to put $299.99. All right, and that's actually going to be times 2. So we'll just say 600 because I'm buying 2 of them. Okay, and then I'm also going to insert a link. Now, inserting that link lets people see where you got your price from. So it shows us as you were creating your budget, you actually were able to find a price from some retailer, and that was indeed the cost for your item. Okay, I already have a laptop and computer, so I don't need to buy that for this project. And I probably, for my virtual reality project, I'm not going to have any other additional expenses here. So in terms of equipment, so I want you to take a moment and think about your own project. And I'm going to give you 1 minute here to kind of think about one equipment item that you might need for your project, and then go find an actual cost for it. So try to find a retailer and a cost. Jack, there might be some awkward silence while we give them a second to work. Is that okay?
Yeah, I did want to point out, I think there may have been a error in
Yeah, it
the
looks like it didn't
it started at
update.
C5, yeah.
Yeah.
So you may need to change that to C4.
Are you able to change that on the master, Jack?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, go ahead, so they won't have to. Okay, so we have hardware equipment cost. We found a link, we found the price. And then it populates down here that the total cost for equipment for my project is $600. All right, so now let's think about transportation and travel. So I probably want to take my project somewhere, right? I want to take it to people. At some point, I want somebody to try my virtual reality app on Sea Level Rise. So I might show it to them at a conference or at a school event. So I'm going to need to get from my home to there. So that usually has some transportation cost involved. Now, if your parents can take you there, fantastic, all the better. If you can save this money and put it towards something else, all the better. But worst case scenario, we want to make sure you're able to get to wherever you need to get to actually do your project. So if you're going to be going somewhere every single day for your project, you might benefit from a bus pass. If you're over 16 and you have your own car and your own vehicle, you might need some gas money to get to your project. Or if you're just going to go there maybe once or twice and there's really no bus that takes you to that location, you might use rideshare like Uber or Lyft. Okay, so let's say we're going to do a rideshare, and I know a rideshare is going to cost $15 to my destination, and I'm going to go both ways. It would be $30. So that would be one trip both ways for a ride fare, a ride share. That's Uber, Lyft, something like that. Okay, if you're going to do something like gas, you're going to have to find what is the cost of gas. What is the cost of gas right now? Is it $3 something? $3.50?
$4.
Oof, $4. And then you're going to say how many miles, right? So maybe you need to go 30 miles. So you'd calculate it something like that. And then bus passes, I think you're all a youth pass, which last I checked was $60, but you would have to go online and check. And this is at 1 month, but maybe you need it for 3 months. So you might say something like at 3 months. And then you'd fill those in. So my preferred is rideshare. I'll probably use it one time, so that's what I'd put in here. But if you're going to need gas, you'll need to think about how much is gas and how many miles do you think you'll drive to your site. Or if you need a bus pass, thinking about the cost of the bus pass and how many months you're going to need it for. Okay. The second thing you could have in your budget is supplies and software. So for my example, so mine is the virtual reality headset. So I already have hardware. I don't really need supplies like paper, pen, or things for outdoor work, but I do need software to develop my app. And unfortunately, the software that I want to use is not free. So let's go take a look at my software that I will use. So the software that I'm going to use for my virtual reality app is called Unity. And I know that I probably want to have a pro plan. So unfortunately, pro is $1,800 a year. That would eat up almost my whole budget. And I know that I really want to have the headset. So I think I can make do with the Plus. So a Unity Plus plan is, and best if you can make do with the free, but we're going to go ahead with the Plus plan. And this is $399 a year for my software. So that would get me through my project. Okay, so we're going to choose this plan. We're going to grab that link so we have evidence of the cost. Okay, so I don't need any stationary stuff. I need Unity Plus plan. And this is going to be $399. Okay, and then I'm going to, again, insert the link. Okay, so that's my specialized software. I don't really need anything for outdoors. So this is good. We'll make this a smaller font. Okay, so that's my supply software cost. Now, personnel, I'm not going to put in anything here because it's not allowable, but it's good to think about your project and maybe for the future, what it would cost to keep it going beyond Kīpuka. Now, sales and marketing, I definitely would like to have people know about my project, right? So if people don't know about my project and they don't know about my C2C virtual reality app, they're not going to use it. They're not going to try it. So I'm probably going to need maybe a website or do some boosted social media posts. I may want to put flyers out around schools or coffee shops and let people know, or I might want to have flyers and a business card or something like that at a conference or event to share about my app. So all of those cost money. If I want to have a website that is dedicated to me, that's going to cost money. So you might also need a website, and I'm going to put here too, because these are separate, but you might need a domain name. Okay, so let's go to wix.com. There's lots of different website builders out there. There's SharePoint, there's Wix, there's WordPress. Let's see pricing on Wix. Okay, so I would go through and look, well, what does my website really need to do? Do I need ad vouchers? Maybe I want some ads. I probably want to boost it. I'd love to know how many people actually came to my website so I could tell future funders. And I could, maybe get away without this. So let's say I'm going to take the unlimited one at $18 a month. I'm going to grab this link. We're going to go over here and we specify website hosted on Wix for 3 months at $18 per month. Okay, and for now, I'm just going to say none of these other things, because this is just an example, but really take a minute and think through what is going to be your plan to let people know about your project. And go ahead and look up the cost for that. So this done will be $54. We have $54 for sales and marketing. All right, now other costs, these are all those other things. So maybe we need stuff for community engagement, training, certifications, or membership. Well, I don't need any memberships for this, but I'm not super great at programming in C#. So C# is the programming language I'm going to have to use to build my app. So let's go see if there's a class on C# and how much that class might be. Let's say Unity. I love Udemy. So Udemy is one of my favorite places to go to take classes. And we can see that there are a couple different classes related to learning how to program using C# for this platform Unity. So I would go through and pick the best one. I'm just going to say this one's probably the best one. It has 4.7 ratings, 30 hours of training, 203 lectures. All right. So I'm just going to grab that link and say, this is training that I need to be successful in my project. So if I don't have this background knowledge, I'm not going to be successful. So that's another expense. So we'd go over here and put C# training on Udemy. And then this was $149.99. And again, we'll insert our link. Okay. And so I think that'll be enough. So for me, that will help me. I'm going to have my hardware. I'm going to be able to get to a specific event where I want to show my final project to people. I'm going to have the software I need to build it. I'm going to have the website to get the word out and keep it going. And I'm going to have the training and background I need to make sure that I develop my app appropriately. So my total budget then is $1,233.98, which does not exceed $2,000. So this is perfect. So this means that there will be other monies available for other participants and that I have not exceeded the maximum limit. So that's how you guys are going to work through your budget. Then when you're ready, you'll be able to share and upload. So you can either save this. Jack, how do you have them uploading it in the app? Do they need to upload it as like a PDF, Excel, or they share the link?
Yeah, good question. So in the written application, we actually have a file upload. So you can download it as a PDF or an Excel document. Either way works. Even a CSV really doesn't matter. The preferred method would probably be an Excel document.
Which one do you prefer, the PDF?
Either way,
Excel.
yeah, PDF or Excel. Excel is great because we can actually go in there with you afterwards and edit it if need be, but PDF works too.
Okay, let's just say if you're watching this recording, if you're here, go ahead and save it as an Excel. And then when you go back into your application, so when you actually start your application form, it will ask you kind of walk through this real quick. Put our town and city. I'm going to say I go to UH. I'm a graduate. School doesn't require a capstone. I love VR. Now here's where it's going to say, please upload your budget proposal. So you would choose your file that you saved from here. The file, we're going to download it as an Excel. Put that here. And then I'm going to drag it in here. All right, and you can see my the Kīpuka Excel file is right there. Okay, and then finally, you would upload a link to your 3-minute video. And this is where I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jack, because Jack is going to tell you now all about the video and tips and tricks for your video.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. That was really, really helpful, and hopefully helpful for those of you who are joining us and those of you who are watching the recording. Now you know that about going through the itemized budget, altering it or adding different things as you need to, and downloading it and uploading it. Again, if you have any questions about this process, please feel free to contact us and email us directly, and we'd be happy to answer any questions or even help you out if need be. So like Katie said, I'll now go into some of the different requirements and tips around making your video. So I want to start off by saying the purpose of this video is really to communicate your vision and share your passion. We want you to prioritize storytelling versus having a super well-produced video. Now, of course, if you have those incredible video skills, we totally invite you to use them, but we don't want to feel like if you don't have great video skills that it's a barrier to entry in this competition. We just want you to be able to communicate your project to us. So the video requirements, it needs to be 3 minutes or less, and we want you to answer the following questions. Okay, so first of all, what is the place or community that you feel connected to? And this can be quite broad, right? Some examples that we offered are maybe it's your school, maybe you feel like you're part of a club or an online community, maybe it's your neighborhood, maybe it's an ethnic or cultural group, maybe it's, it could really be anything. It's such a broad requirement, but we do want to hear why you are connected to this community. The second thing we want to hear is a problem, need, opportunity, or even an inefficiency that you've identified in this community, right? What is something that needs solving, or where is there an opportunity to improve or make this community better? And then third, what is your vision for uplifting this community? How are you going to solve this problem? How are you going to serve this need? How are you going to make this community more efficient? And why are you and your team positioned to do this? What skills do you have? Why are you passionate? How are you connected to this problem in this community? And who is your network, right? If it's just you, or maybe you have a small team, who are your teachers or your mentors or your friends or partners? Who's there to help support you in this journey? And you can also take this as an opportunity to say who you might want to be a part of your journey here. Fourth, what is your proposed budget, right? So you'll have your full itemized budget. You don't need to go into a ton of detail, but maybe just give us a general figure of how much money you're going to need to take action towards this vision. And then finally, how does your project involve one of the STEM disciplines? So to reiterate, STEM is science, technology, engineering, or math. And you can be as specific or as broad with these disciplines as you want. Again, I don't know if you were unable to join us last week. We kind of went over what that might look like to involve STEM. Your project doesn't necessarily need to be technology based, but it should involve one of the STEM disciplines. So you can just briefly cover how your project will meet that requirement in your video. Again, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'd be happy to address it. So some of the videography tips. Using sort of a selfie format is probably the best. We'd love to see your face. We'd love to hear your voice. We'd love to see your passion. And so I do have an example of this from one of our winners last year, Joshua Parker, with his Hawaiian hydropower project. I'm not going to play the whole video, but I just want to show you kind of what that might look like to speak to the camera in almost this selfie format.
Aloha mai kako. I am Joshua Parker, founder and CEO of Hawaiian Hydropower. The origins of Hawaiian Hydropower are grounded in research done in lokoi'a, or Hawaiian fish ponds.
So that's kind of your selfie format. The next best could be sort of a slideshow and recording format. And this is an example of what that might look like. This was another winner from last year, Tyler Levine, with her project Seeds of Honua.
Aloha, my name is Tyler. I'm the founder and CEO of Seeds of Honua, and I've been planting and saving seed for as long as I can remember. Long ago, before the time of human beings, sacred seeds made their way to Hawaii and took root. They were blessed.
Okay. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an example of these different types of formats that you can take, right? So you can film yourself and speak to the camera and really connect on a personal level. If you aren't comfortable with that, or maybe you don't have the right equipment, you could also create a slideshow or some sort of illustration on your computer and then record yourself going through it using computer software like Zoom, or Loom is another good one that's free and allows you to record yourself while you record your screen. But however you do this, we just want to see you approach it creatively, right? So you don't have to fit within one of these buckets. If you have a totally different way of expressing yourself visually, we would love to see how you approach that. If you do want to film yourself, like Joshua Parker did, there are a lot of free and easy to use editing tools out there. The ones that we recommend are Adobe Spark, iMovie if you have an Apple computer, or HitFilm Express if you have Windows. These are all totally free to use and are very powerful editing softwares to accomplish this video project. And then as far as a camera goes, you shouldn't feel limited if you don't have some fancy video camera or DSLR. The best camera that you have is the one that you have on you. And most of us have smartphones nowadays, and these cameras are insane. You can film 4K or 1080p video on these. Even laptop webcams are great. You have this FaceTime camera looking at you. So whatever it is, whatever you have available, we just recommend that you make use of the tools that you have. And you shouldn't feel limited by your tools. And then a few other video tips. Oh yeah, thanks, Katie, for mentioning that. We do have equipment that you can borrow, so please reach out to us if this is something you'd be interested in. And then a couple of other video tips. So we do invite the use of imagery. You could see in the video examples that I showed you, they had some overlays of maybe some stock footage or some of their designs. You might have screenshots, you might have CAD models if you're doing 3D modeling. You know, in Katie's example, she's talking about a VR application. Maybe you have screenshots or a screen recording of what that might look like. Maybe you have a video of someone using it. You know, we do invite you to use other imagery overlaid on top of you speaking so that we get a better picture of your project. I do recommend that you write and rehearse a script, right? You'll come across as much more prepared if you have prepared a script ahead of time. It might be helpful to run it by someone, maybe you know, tell it to your parents, your friends, your sibling, and at the very least, just practice it out loud a couple of times. Next, staging. So we do understand that those of you who are applying may be at different stages of your project. Some of you may be at just the idea stage, and others of you might be more developed, right? In the examples that I showed you, Josh Parker has actual had actual prototypes of his hydropower turbines that he had put in local area. So he was at a much more developed stage than some of the other applicants, but it doesn't really matter what stage that you're at. We just want you to communicate your project at the stage that it's at. So if it's just in an idea stage, maybe you don't have any pictures or videos or screenshots of the actual project yet, but you can be creative about this, right? You could draw your vision, you could illustrate it, you could grab stock imagery or videos off the internet to better communicate it. Just use whatever you have available for you for the stage of your project. And as far as stock images and videos go, there are tons of awesome resources. If you just Google free stock images or free stock video, you'll find a ton of resources. The ones that I really like to use are Unsplash and Pexels. Unsplash is great for images. They're super high quality and they're all totally free to use. And so again, to reiterate, the ultimate goal is to communicate your vision and to use any tools that are available and that makes sense to illustrate your vision. You don't need to be a video guru. You don't need to have some crazy, well-developed project yet. We just want to hear your ideas, understand your vision, and we really do want to see your passion, right? We want to see why you're the right person to do this and why you care about this project. As far as judging criteria goes, so we went over this in our last workshop last Friday, but to quickly reiterate, we do want to see ideas that are rooted in place. So they're place-based you know, most likely it'll be based here in Hawaii, but wherever you feel a sense of place, we want to see your ideas rooted in that place. And that goes along with uplifting a community. So, you know, these ideas will be specific to one community that you feel a part of. We want to see ideas that are impact positive, so they create some sort of social or environmental positive impact. We want to see that passionate team or passionate individual and what that network looks like. We want to see ideas that are bold and creative, and we want to see that you're applying a STEM discipline in some way. And so this is how the judges in the competition will judge those videos coming through. And if you notice, there isn't even a criteria here for how your video is produced. Like I said, it really doesn't matter how that video is produced. Obviously, if you wow us, you know, we love to see awesome videos, but it's not a criteria that you'll be judged on. So that is all that we had for today. You know, we have another 17 minutes here. So we would love to dive into one of your projects or answer any questions that you have. Again, you can learn more about this, apply, or even donate to the fund at kīpuka.purplemai'a.org. And then for the students, you can join our Discord server so that you can ask us questions directly or talk to other participants in the competition. And you can find links to do that on the website, or you can join us at bit.ly/Kīpuka-Discord.